Hey there! Did you know Baker's always gives you savings and rewards on top of our lower than low prices? And when you download the Baker's app, you'll enjoy over $500 in savings every week with digital coupons. And don't forget fuel points to help you save up to $1 per gallon at the pump. Want to save even more? With a Boost membership, you'll get double fuel points and free delivery. So shop and save big at Baker's today. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Ready to make a difference in the lives of fathers and their families? The Show Up Dad podcast empowers the next generation of dads to lead with confidence and love. Your support and our amazing partners help us to create lasting impact. Consider donating $50, $100, or $250 to provide a dad with essential resources. And speaking of incredible partners, let us introduce you to Tallman Equipment. Since 1952, Tallman Equipment has been standing taller than the rest of competition in lineman tools. They provide top quality equipment and solutions for linemen, ensuring safety and efficiency on the job. If you're in need of reliable and durable tools, look no further than Tallman Equipment. Also, don't forget to check out our online shop at theshowupshop.myshopify.com for high quality products that support our cause. From t-shirts and hoodies, stickers, and even children's clothes, we have something for everyone. Not only will we be showing your support for our cause, but you'll also be getting a high quality product that you'll love. To learn more about what we do, visit theshowupdadfoundation.org. You can also find lineman tools at tallmanequipment.com. Thank you for your generosity, and let's empower dads and build stronger families. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Show Up Dad podcast. Join me in welcoming Mike Chartrand, a resilient, inspiring individual who has faced unimaginable challenges on his journey as a father. At 46 years old, Mike, a dedicated lineman, found himself going through a painful divorce 11 months ago. From the very beginning, he was met with adversity when a baseless restraining order forced him out of his own home, leaving him with only $43 and clothes on his back. But despite these overwhelming circumstances, Mike's story took an unexpected turn. Along this difficult path, he discovered not only strength within himself, but also a newfound connection to spirituality. A chance encounter with the homeless man became a pivotal moment in his life, leading him towards self-discovery and a deepened faith. Through his experiences, Mike has gained invaluable insights into the importance of perseverance, self-reflection, and finding hope in the darkest of times. Today, he joins us on the Show Up Dad podcast to share his powerful journey and the lessons he has learned along the way. Get ready to be inspired as we delve into Mike's remarkable story of resilience, personal growth, and unwavering love he has for his children. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Thank you. Got to be here.
Absolutely, bro. Well, Mike, you got a tremendous story. I know our audience is going to be blessed to listen to it. And I know throughout all this, you're going to be able to just leave them with some hope, man. Because right now, more than ever, fathers, right, are getting the shaft when it comes to custodial battles, right? I had a past guest on here who said that you just can't stop fighting for your children.
Right.
You know? So hopefully now during going into the holidays, I know it's going to be hard for a lot of fathers out there because of, loneliness and stuff like that. We just want to let you know that you guys are not alone. If you could tell us a little bit more about yourself, your upbringing and all that stuff, if you don't mind, brother.
Yeah, no. So I had what I thought was kind of like a normal upbringing. My dad was out working. My mom was at home. And I always noticed, though, one thing is like I was much bigger than everybody in my family. Like I just didn't understand. I was like, why am I so much bigger than these people? Well, I didn't find out till I was like, I think 30, that I was adopted. I was looking at stuff and I was like, why when I go to this side of the family, I'm like, why am I so much bigger than everybody? And why do they speak like this? And I just nothing made sense. And then I found out and it was like, wow, like this crazy, oh yeah, I should have known that one, And then I found out, then it got deep because I got emotional about it. I was like, oh, so these people have been pretending to be like family with me. And these people have to be told stuff. Like when I was a kid, when I go to their house, they have to be like set up that I'm coming and what not to say and what to say. So it kind of made me feel like a little, like I was an embarrassment. I don't know. It made me feel weird, but all in all, what I learned from it is that my dad, the one that, adopted me, he dropped out of school at 17 or 16 and started, he was a sheet metal fabricator and never looked back. He just did what he had to do because, he had a kid, he wanted to take care of me. So my mom was like 15. They met basically, and here I am. It happened. Them two got together real young and took me in.
How many other siblings did you have, Mike?
So I just found out, like I don't even know, 4 or 5 months ago. I have 2 more sisters that live in like North Carolina, and then I have one that lives in just up here in Victorville, and I have 2 brothers that are cops. I was like, oh, that's pretty good, I guess. So they live in Whittier. So I had like this whole networking of people that were around me that I just didn't know, was available to me until just recently. And that was weird too, like finding all that out, and it kind of makes you mad because you think like I could never do like my kids. If that was their story, I'd kind of maybe. Well, I know I would. I let them know that as life went on. Not. I guess it was frustrating finding out so late and knowing that all these other people were around that I could have had relationships with. Yeah, it was awkward. It's an awkward thing to talk about.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, finding out that you're adopted at 30. I mean, the crazy thing though, Mike, is what I'm thinking about is that, man, they must have really made you feel at home, bro. Because if you didn't know, and it was quite obvious, just by your height, like you're saying, you know what I mean, or your size, man, you must have really, really felt welcomed by that family. You know what I mean? They did a good job.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I had other people like there was other boys my age that were like cousins or uncle or whatever. They were like my age. Yeah. And one of them told me one day, hey bro, that's not your dad. And he don't even like, there was like this, I think I was like 11 or 12. I remember thinking, nah, he's probably right, but I'm not going to say nothing because he's cool. Like, I'll just kind of take that, whatever. But and that always stuck with me for a long time. It's kind of like, I guess I kind of knew, but I just didn't want to, deal with it, But yeah, they were good. They were good people. It was just the way I was told was really kind of sour, but it happened, whatever.
Were you the only one they adopted, or did they have other adopted siblings?
Well, this is another thing that struck me weird is that, so I was just me. And then they had a kid, a little girl, my sister, and she's bright red hair and super pale. And so I was like, wow, that's kind of odd. So, and as we grew up, again, I'm skying over everybody, and then I'm kind of olive skin and brown hair, brown eyes, and she's light skin and red hair and brown eyes. So just when we stood together, it was, no one would think that. Everybody else was like, they're not brother and sister, but I was like, yeah, it's my sister, So it was definitely odd,
Yeah.
Red flags for sure. But I let it go.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you felt safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, like, if you didn't feel safe, you would have. Those had been more magnified, I guess. Is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Definitely.
So, obviously, this family took you in. Your father took you in. How old were you when they adopted you? Did they tell you? Or?
I was like infant time. I think it was 6 months to a year. Yeah. So it was tricky because like I went to this thing to be a big brother, right? Big brother program. And they were telling me about this kid that was adopted and as an infant. And then at 12 or 13, he found out and it screwed him, messed him up, So I was like, why? Wouldn't that be easier? Because the parents can kind of hide it, or, like what they did for me. They kind of kept it under wraps until I was much older. And the lady was saying, no, it just caused a lot of identity crisis with him. Like he's like, am I this? Am I that? It was confusing for him. So I was able to relate to him, So he had the same thing. But yeah, mine was, I would say, be under 3 years old, like somewhere in there. I don't know exactly, but young.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think it's better when they're young like that because, they say a child's brain is most malleable between the ages of 0 and 7. You know what I mean? So you're right in that point where, you know what I mean? You could start picking up habits and stuff like that from your family, right? And certain traits, you know what I mean?
Right.
not physical traits, but, you know, just character shaping traits, like how you
like
look or smile or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
right. Physically, we're opposites, but
Yeah.
I'm like dad to a T. You know, like I'm him.
Mhm.
Like his toolbox has got to be a certain way, and the way he does things, just everything. Like I'm him. You know, so I kind of
Mhm.
was molded into I kind of took a different route from whatever my genetics or whatever you want to call it was supposed to be.
Mhm.
Turned into I think he's a rad dad. Like I couldn't ask for anything better. So you know, it kind of worked out. You know, I got pretty lucky.
Yeah, for sure. What was there any pivotal moment or anything like that where they decided, like, because obviously they didn't have trouble having other children, but what made them want to adopt?
So
Did they ever
I
tell
have
you
no
or?
idea. I have no
Okay.
I have no idea. I never asked him that. I have
Mhm.
no idea.
Uh-huh.
That might be a question for I have to ask him.
Did you ever, like, after you learned about being adopted, right? Did you ever go on like a quest, you know, to find out who your biological father and mother were or anything like that? Or
So I went. I found out that my biological father's name and
uh-huh.
his location.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna. So I searched high and low. It was probably a good 2 months,
Mhm.
and then I called him and I was like, yeah, this is who I am, blah blah. And he's like, I said, what happened, man? Like, what? You couldn't man up? Like, you know, what's the deal? And he just said, the story is not what you've been told. We have to talk. And so I was like, oh, okay. So I went and I met him, and it was
Uh-huh.
weird, man. He was like a spitting image of me. Like he's 6'2" and big guy, and I mean, I was looking at myself, you know, when he was and older, and we started
Yeah.
talking and stuff, and then within 10 minutes, I was like, now I see why you left. Like he was just, it just full. It just was not. Nothing was real. You know what I mean? Like he was just saying things that were just to save
Mm.
it, you know, just to try to save his, you know, image or whatever. But yeah, none of it was real. So, but anyways, the good thing is I met him, and I'm I took it as I'm even more luckier than I thought I was, you know. So
Yeah.
it worked out good, I guess, you know. And I found out about all these other siblings and stuff at the time, but I never looked for them until recently.
Mhm.
So this you know, that was my journey for it, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Now it's good that you're able to meet him, obviously, and that way you can kind of see yourself, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? You
yeah,
know, and see where you come from, right? I'm glad that you're able to recognize though that, hey man, just because this man biologically had you, a father is much more than just being able to procreate, right?
yeah.
And that's what you got with your adopted father. And that just goes to show you the value of our influence as fathers, you know, and us doing the right thing by choosing to lead and develop and raise our children. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yep. I agree 100%. You're as fathers, like, dude, the power that a man has, a responsible man, is it's real, bro. If you can carry yourself and project the right tone, I guess I'm
Hmm.
not sure what, but if you do it in the right way, the power of a father is huge, man. It really is, because to see what I saw when I met him and the way I
Hmm.
felt about myself in 5 minutes, I'm like, man, I'm glad I didn't go that. I'm glad my route went this way instead of that way. You know, who knows where
Hmm.
I would have been. So, yeah, definitely, it's a powerful thing being a dad, but you gotta
Hmm.
gotta you gotta work at it, and you gotta, you know, harness that, because you can go wrong real quick. You know.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. So let's fast forward, Mike. So you found out you're adopted. You know, you talked a little bit about your upbringing and stuff like that. I wanted to ask you, how did you see your parents? Like, you know, how did they how did they deal with each other? Like, what did you learn from them as far as like marriages go and stuff like that? Did you
So
have a
my
pretty good
mom,
example or?
no, yeah, no, my mom was
Uh-huh.
very pretty lady, and
Hmm.
she was often very flirtatious. And what I remember being in the car with her and being places, and just she was very. I was like, oh, what are you doing, mom? Like, what the heck?
Hmm.
And my dad was like full on like a rad, just just a great guy. Like he would come home from work and he'd be filthy dirty and lay down on the ground in the living room, and we'd be trying to jump over his hands, and he'd grab us, and like, and she was very like, you guys are being too loud, and it's time for bed. And so I learned that uh I entrusted myself with my father, way more than the other way. It ended up being that I think they had, like, she cheated and they got divorced and whatever. And I haven't talked to her in 35 years. And
Wow.
she did the same thing that I'm going through, with bad mouthing him and humiliating him in front of friends and family. And it's just kept his mouth shut, have a nice day, and just go about his business. And after a while, whatever she said, it didn't matter no more, because everybody saw that what she's saying and what is in front of him. He took away her power by just being chill and letting everything roll off his fingers, off his shoulder, So my experience with them was they had a tumultuous relationship. They were always kind of,
it's interesting that you said that, just by his chase conduct, right? And not giving it to her, trying to get him upset or stir the pot or whatever, and him just keeping his cool. It's good to see that you saw that, right? Because that's being an adult, you know what I mean? Instead of just buying into, oh yeah, you did this, well, you treated me like this, I'm gonna do this too, you know what I mean? It's good to see that someone had to be the adult in that relationship.
Right.
And
I took that was a learning lesson that I'm not glad at all it happened, but I got that out of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She was brutal to him sometimes, and he would just and then he'd go out back and, like, hit the weight bag or whatever, I'm sure he got out of his anger somehow, but in front of us, it was always okay, no problem, do his own thing. That must have been hard,
for sure. Yeah, no, I can't even imagine, man. That's hard, it's always difficult when you see that as a child,
Yeah. I wanted to make sure my kids didn't have to deal with none of that, because it was tough,
Yeah.
Maybe you had to feel like you had to pick a side, and everybody, I think all boys, you love your mom, and even if she's mean or whatever, you still, it's your mom, you want to, your mom. But I think at the beginning, I might have leaned that way a little bit because it's mom, but after a while, you kind of, what's right. You just go to what's right, not just because it's mom, you know what I mean?
Well, as kids, you see, and you know what's going on, and you can't bullshit them. You know what I mean? They know if mama's or daddy's, telling stories about the other parent, and you see that her actions or his actions are completely opposite, you're going to be able to make a decision. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, now we talked about this, stuff that happened to you, right? They say what walks in fathers runs in sons, and it's kind of crazy, like coincidence that would happen to your adopted father, your father, right? Happened to you, and receiving this baseless restraining order and being forced out of your own home and stuff like that. How did you navigate these sudden challenges, bro? Because I mean, that would crush a lot of men, dude.
So when I first found out that she was having there was things going on, right?
Yeah.
So she said, "Go through my emails. Look, there's nothing." And I was like, "Oh," but as I went, like, okay, cool. Let me like try to figure this out, And she, I'm sorry. She said someone had been hacking into her account. So I'm like, okay, maybe that's who these people are. Let's check it out. As soon as she said, "Oh yeah, you can do it, but not today. Do it tomorrow," I was like, that's weird. So of course the next day she comes, and she had the night to delete or whatever she had to do. Yeah. And I started just going and looking at stuff, and I found stuff that was so hard to swallow. I just thought it wasn't real. Like meetups at hotels during lunchtime, flying to Vegas and back at lunchtime, like crazy. Going to San Francisco and back at lunchtime, all these things. And it's not like it's like, this could be that. It's here's a flight, here's when it leaves, when it comes back, and it's on her calendar, and it says, so and so leave work early. Like it was. So then, the more I confronted her, I thought for my kids, I wanted to work it out. I thought, let's try to do this. It was weird because this was in 2021, and the cheat, all that stuff was in 2018, 2017. So it popped back up. So I thought I went this far, and so let's try it. So it became a point of her first being apologetic for months.
Yeah.
Then the more I dug, the more I found. And then it was like, hey, what's this? Wait, what's this? So I was starting to feel hopeless. Like, this isn't gonna, it's just work. So one thing, well, then we get to a point where now she's angry every day. Anything I say is she's just angry about it all. She got caught, and she kept telling me stuff like, it was in the past. Like, I'm not like that anymore. And I'm like, you're not like what anymore? She never admitted to anything. She was always, it was a hacker, and it was in the past, and she doesn't know.
Yeah.
One day I come home, and my son texts me, and he says, hey, Dad, I'm going to go, Mom picked me up early from school. We're going to go to the beach and go have something to eat. And I was like, oh, all right, cool. And didn't think nothing of it, really. And then 5 minutes later, he texts me, Dad, Mom told me to turn off my locations to you and the rest of the family. And she's driving fast, and I don't know where we're going. I'm scared. So I said, whoa, send me your location. He sends me a screenshot. I go hop in my truck, and they already had like a 15, 20-minute head start. And I hop on the freeway there, going down towards Mexico area. And I was like, what the hell is going on? So one thing leads to another. I couldn't find them right away. And when I did find them, they were at one of her friend's houses. And I thought, okay, I talked to my son, and he said, we're going to spend the night here, I guess. And I was like, all right. So I'm thinking she just needs time or whatever she needed to do.
Yeah.
2 days later, some guy's knocking on my door, and he has a stack of papers. And so I open the door, and he's like, Mike, I was like, yeah. He throws me the papers, and I looked at the first thing, and it said like a different name. It was like Andrew something. And I was like, hey, man, I'm not Andrew. And he's like, well, let me see that. And he's like, these are the wrong ones. So then he was cool, though. He was like, hey, you know what this is for? And I was like, no, bro. And he's like, restraining order, man. He's like, you got 12 minutes or 1 hour to get out of the house. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah. And he said, you can't talk to your kids either. And I'm like, what? And he showed me. And I was like, well, for what? It said stuff in there that was completely, there were scenarios that were switched where she was talking about me as her and her as me. Like,
wow.
She said one thing, and there was Mike walked past me in the hallway, and he hit the wall and said, "Don't hit me." What? No, I didn't do that. That's what she did. I was just walking down there with my kid in my arms, and that was all a ploy from this lawyer, which I found out later that he was this guy that guarantees women that he will get them a restraining order. So they tell him a story, and he just twisted enough to where it's not lying, but it's a gray area. You know what I mean? Just enough to make it sound a lot worse than what it is. But anyways, next thing I know, I'm out of the house, and I'm driving, and I'm like, I don't know where to go. So I start calling buddies, and it's Christmas time now, right? It's December 1st, and I'm calling people, and they're like, bro, I have family down. All right, cool. Let me call this place in. So there's a couple people that were like, yeah, I got family here, but we'll squeeze you in. And I was like, dude, I don't want to be that guy, So I just said, screw it. And I lived in my truck for a total of 55 days.
Wow.
And when I was in the truck, after like day 14, I was in a church parking lot, and I saw this dude behind me. He was kind of a big dude, real dirty looking. And I was like, oh man, he's probably down and out. So I rolled down the window, and I said, hey man, you want a cheeseburger? And he was like, what'd you do to it? And I said, nothing, bro. I said, I'll take a bite of it. He goes, take a bite of it. And I'm like, all right. So I took a bite, and he goes, all right. He took the cheeseburger, and he just ate his cheeseburger. And I saw him again the next night. Same thing, but I had fries this time. I was like, you want some fries? And he's like, yeah. So we talked a little bit. And then the third night, he was really drunk and walking the same thing. And we talked. I told him everything that had happened so far. And he had a similar story. He was an ex Marine, and been through the ringer, and his mind wasn't right, but he turned to drinking instead of talking, and he ended up alone. Homeless. So he tells me, you know why you're here? And I said, yeah, because it's safe, man. Why? Same reason why you're here, He said, no, you're here because I'm going to tell you something that's going to change your life. And I went, all right, tell me what that is. And he went on this story about putting yourself in other people's shoes.
Yeah.
And he told me to do it for my wife, my ex-wife. He said, put yourself in her shoes. She's wrong, but now she's scared. She knows she's going to probably get a divorce. She knows she's probably going to not see her kids all the time because of what she's done. Yeah. So she's doing damage control, and she's also trying to go through the emotions in her heart. And I was like, damn. Okay. And he's like, you know, and he just went through this whole thing about them and your kids and then this and then, and it really, for me, because I was giving up, you know, I was like, dude, it's Christmas. Yeah. So for me, it changed how I went forward from that point on. And she was ruthless, like ruthless. Money in the accounts was gone. Like I had no debit cards. I had that, everything was shut off. I had nothing. And then I got a paycheck and I went out and I bought my kids a PlayStation. And I spent the whole check on them, which caused me to be homeless for like another, you know, 45 days because, you know, you need all this down payment. I didn't have nothing, you know? So as that time went on, the more I learned that the more I on Instagram, I'd post just positive things, you know, even if I was living in the truck, I'd post up just, hey, I'm singing, you know, Christmas song, whatever. The more I showed that I was trying to be a better, you know, make the best out of it, the more the more she would be like, why is he, you know, like, look at him, he's laughing and he's in his truck with nothing, you know. It really angered her and it became, okay, now you're doing that, I want child support. Oh, now you're doing that, I want this, I want that, I want this. And it just became brutal. That's all I can say is she was telling my family stuff. She was telling, it just became brutal. I didn't talk to no one. I just stayed to myself and just worried about seeing my kids. Like Christmas Eve, I was sitting on the neighbor's house on their roof. I was like, hey man, I'll give you $20. Then you go in your backyard and sit on your roof. He's like, why? I said, I can see the window when my kids open gifts. He's like, why don't you just go in your house? And I was like, you know, I can't because this, and this. And he's like, oh man. He's like, yeah, go ahead. I'm not gonna give you, give me no money. So I sat on his roof trying to see my kids open their gifts, you know, and stuff. It was like, I would say it was terrible. It was terrible. It was the worst of the worst that I think anything.
Yeah.
You know, it was terrible.
Man, Mike, man, my heart goes out to you, brother. That's rough, bro.
Yeah.
That is rough, dude. And man, I'm just thankful to God that you're here with us because
I was close, man.
That's hard, bro. I can't even imagine what you went through.
We lived on a cul-de-sac and we lived there for 8, 10, whatever years. And everybody was my buddies. We'd be working on each other's houses. I couldn't go within 300 feet of my own home. So I couldn't go down my own street. I couldn't talk to my friends because I call them and my wife was talking to their wife and then their wife would tell them, oh, he da 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 da. So then, hey, bro, you know, like if you call me over there and on my work phone, you know, because I can't. It was terrible. And all I did was catch her doing something she shouldn't have been doing, you know? That's it.
Yeah.
But it turned and turned and turned.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, we go to court to get the restraining order thing deal with.
Yeah.
I'm panicking now because like, dude, she's a pretty woman and she's very business savvy, and I'm in there shaved head tattoos, and I just, oh man, this guy's not gonna. The hearing, it was like 100% one-sided, all favor me. Every time she talked, it was like, what? You just said that. What? You just did that. Are you like, the judge was like, he couldn't believe it. At the end, he said, the court finds your testimony disrespectful and something else like outrageous or something like that. And he said that, you know, we disagree with all of your statements of you saying that she wanted a restraining order for 5 years, no visitation, no contact from my kids. Mm-hmm. That means for 5 years, I couldn't come within 300 feet and I couldn't talk to my kids because nothing, literally nothing. I've never hit my wife. I don't drink, nothing. And as soon as he did this thing, I looked at my attorney and I was like, is this done? And he goes, no, man, I have a feeling that you just made her madder. And I was like, what does that mean? Like, why do you think that? He's like, she was over there like this, like she was angry. So we go out of court and I hold the door open for her, right? The little door things. And I'm like holding it open and she grabs her purse and she's like, everything was, she was scared, right? I'm gonna tell the guys this, like, if you ever hear your wife start saying for no reason, you're harassing me. I'm scared right now. Some lawyer has told her to type that or text that, and then they use that as, you know. But she was using it so much, it was like, you knocked on the door too hard, and if the children are scared and I'm scared, like it started to be outrageous. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but anyway, so I tried to open the thing for her, and she grabbed her purse, and she was like, and the bailiff was like, what? Like, he's like, told me, he's like, does she understand that there's a room full of officers here and a jail? Like, what was that? And I was like, yeah, I know, that's what I've been dealing with. He's like, hey man, I feel for you. I walked out, and then the next day she picks the kids up. We had agreed on a very limited supervised visitation. I got my kids 3 days a week, 3 hours at each time, and I went from being every day, all day, nonstop to nothing, and then the 3 hour thing. And it was the most demeaning, humiliating thing, having a supervisor, watch you with your kids. You can't leave. You can't drive. You can't drive nowhere. You're forced to give them a boring time, which you want to give them the best time, because it's like, hey, dad, your hands are tied, and I couldn't. They said I wasn't allowed to even say her name to them. Like I couldn't do anything. I had to be perfect while she's over there just tearing me a new one. And then that goes on for a while, like another couple of months, and then we go to court for custody. They said that I had the children 6% of the time every month, which was 3 days a week, 3 hours, whatever.
Yeah.
The lady told me, Mike, I need to tell you something. It's very rare that a man gets double of what they already have. And I was like, so you're telling me I might not even get 12%? I've done nothing. I've lost everything. And I'm going to, for what? I said, you don't have words for that, like, wait a minute. I caught my wife cheating. I told her that, she was cheating. And I got to lose my house that I built and my kids and all these things because why? I don't get it. It didn't make sense.
No.
And we go to court for custody. And I was so bummed, like walking in there, like I was like, and my lawyer, he was kind of like he's an older guy, and I think he drinks on the job, you know what I mean? He's kind of just real cheap, like $29.95 an hour, and she had like double-breasted, slick back hair lawyers, And they go in there and they say their side, we say ours, and I get them 38%, and I was like, what? They're like, yeah, you get your kids this much, and I was like, my attorney's like, dude, like, you need to come back again, because it had been, I think after so many months, like 2 or 3 months or whatever, you can come back and ask for more. So that's after I got them that, now I have them. And well, I'm sorry, I have one. So my 13-year-old that we're inseparable. He's been told a lot of stuff, like, I put a gun to her head and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, he's jaded and he's confused, and we don't talk right now. She said on this app that we have to use, it's called Talking Parents. She wrote on there one day, I said, please let me talk to Luke. I want to take him for ice cream or something. And she said, no, he doesn't want to speak to you. And I said, well, have him tell me that, because he's never once told me. It's just she has. Yeah. And so when I talk to him, I love you, Dad. I miss you. When we go, the little bit time that I have with him, I love you, Dad. Like, he wants to go start Muay Thai fighting and doing all these things. But then when he goes home the next day, nothing, cut off. Yeah. So I asked him, I said, what did I do? And at first he said, you left me. And I said, no, bro, I would never do that. You understand? And he goes, but why did you leave? You were gone for so long. And I said, I couldn't talk about it because I couldn't tell him what happened, because if I did, I'm breaching the court order to not talk about my divorce with the kids. So I said, you gotta trust me, man. This is just, this is what it is. It's, I just can't, I couldn't talk to you. I couldn't see you. And that wasn't a good enough answer. And I don't blame him. I mean, I would want my dad to tell me something more than that, especially if he's gone for so long. And then I started to hear stuff through the grapevine of him going through his own things. Like now he's hanging out with these bad crowd, and he got caught with the vape pen and drinking a little bit, and just he's doing what he's acting up, going through the motions. So where we're at right now, after all that, it was we don't talk. Mm-hmm. It's been like right now it's probably been a solid 3 weeks, month. Before that, it was spotty. So I'm going back to court, and I'm asking for like court mandated counseling, for me and him. And that she's already been given a thing that says she can't talk about the kid or stuff to the kids. So what she does is she doesn't talk to them. She talks on the phone to her girlfriend when they're in the car. Yeah, and they hear it. Yeah, so she's not talking to them, but So I found that out from my little guy that
Mm-hmm.
he knows stuff that I'm like, dude, you're 4 years. Why you shouldn't know any of this? You should just be worried
Yeah.
about where the next mud puddle is, like not anything else,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So sorry, I didn't mean to go off on that one.
No, it's
There for a
just
long time.
it's unfortunate that people don't put the best interests of the children first.
Yeah. When you
And they
tell
let.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I didn't interrupt you, but
Mhm.
just their birthday was the other day. Both of them had their birthdays a couple weeks apart. So what I did, I went to the babysitter and I dropped off a bunch of decorations, and then I told the baby, I asked her, I said,
Mhm.
hey, what are you doing for, or the boy's birthday? And she's like, oh, I'm doing this, this, and this. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna come. I said, I've never missed any of the. Well, I'm gonna be there. Yeah, I don't know. And I went, okay, well then think about it. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna let her do the thing. Well, turns out it was just she went and had the birthdays, and it just so happened that I had my little guy because the older one doesn't want to see me. So the older one's birthday, I called and I said, hey, can me and the little guy come to his birthday? And she said, no. And I said, why should he not be able to see his brother on his birthday? Why?
Yeah.
Because, and then hung up. Or things like when the kid's at the babysitter and I'm off work, I should be able to go get him and take him out and not be cooped up in that babysitter. But she says no. And I say, why? And she says, because it's my day. Like that's not what's best for the kids. What's best for the kids is to be with their family and be with and be learning stuff about being a young man. Especially, I got two boys. Like they got so much to learn. Like and the fact that at 13 years old he's not allowed to see his father, or he's been tricked into thinking things about him. Dude, that's a pivotal age, 13, dude. That's like you're starting to be a young man, and you're talking to women and girls. I mean, and you gotta, he's got to have a stepping or I don't know what the word is. He needs something to show him the way. I guess he's at that age.
But. Yeah, well, they start getting to that age where they want to know who they are, right? They want to start looking at their identity and finding out who they are, figuring out themselves, right? Unfortunately, your ex-wife is going to find out the hard way that she can't be daddy.
Yeah.
That he's going to need daddy, and you'll see. But so I wanted to kind of touch base about this homeless guy and how you said that empathy changed your viewpoint. That's one of the things that both my wife and I say too, because we had this podcast that we did on our Marriage on the Line Lifeline, and we talked about when to reconcile after adultery has happened, right? And if it's even possible, right? And that was one of the big things, is being able to put yourself in your spouse's shoes and see through their lens, right? And being empathetic towards them, right? So I'm glad to see that guy, he actually gave you some solid advice there, bro.
Yeah. I mean, once he said I was thinking he was going to say, think about your kids. Everybody does. Your kids, you can't give up. But when he said her, I was like, I can't stand her. And he's like, but just think about it. And I was like, damn. And he's like, she's angry because she's wrong. She knows she's wrong. And also because you're gone now. And so she's trying to be strong and get herself through it. And she's not doing it the right way, but you got to think about that sometimes, I thought for a little bit, like, I'm going to try to make another run at her.
Yeah.
But I guess because I read and I saw too much to forgive, it was just too much for me,
Well, we definitely say, forgiveness is not fair, and it's hard, but it's something that we need to do, and it's not for them, it's for us. Honestly, unforgiveness is like being in your own prison and having the key to let yourself out, but you refuse to. You have the power to let yourself out of that prison, right?
Yep.
And it's hard. It definitely is, but the sooner you can let it go. And I'm not saying forgetting or put yourself in danger or nothing like that, but just don't carry that burden. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was hard. That's hard to do. I started to go to church, right? I never went to church before that. And man, I couldn't. I was always under this impression that everybody was going to be very uptight, and it was very. I had to be, you know, very straight and narrow.
Mm-hmm.
It was nothing like I thought. I was.
No.
I wish I would have known this a long time ago, because I'd have been there. I'd have been there. I met
No.
some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. Some of the honest, straightforward, blunt, like no games. I've learned a lot about me and the wrongs of me and how I reacted to certain things that weren't healthy. And just, I learned a lot, and it has helped me. I mean, if I would have known this information before I found out about all this cheating stuff, it would have been handled completely different. I think that it could have possibly been saved, but
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? But I think I at least for sure know that I would have handled it differently, and maybe made it so that right now, at least, we're a little cooler than what it is,
So did you go to like a spiritual counselor or something like that where you learned this information, or was it just through the church, or
through the church? Through the church, just talking to
okay.
people, just I don't know. I would just, when at church was done, I didn't have nowhere to go, so I just kind of sat there sometimes. I just wait till everybody walks out, and then I don't know. I started to bring a football, and I throw the football with these kids in the parking lot. And then one of their dads came over, and we were talking, and he knew somebody that might help me, and then just kind of went through this vortex of people, and I ended up with talking to people that like really knew their stuff. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, for sure.
That was a blessing right there.
Yeah, and it's so important. Like when you're the one who's, when your spouse betrays you, you're the betrayed, right? There's a great organization that we fully support. It's called Affair Recovery, AR, right? And for those who have gone through it, and for those who have been betrayed, they have a great course that we highly recommend, and it's called Harboring Hope. And it's for the betrayed, you know what I mean, to get through those traumas, because it's traumatic, dude. When you're betrayed like that, especially by someone who is your spouse, right? That you're thinking of growing old with and stuff like that. I mean, it's such a deep, deep wound. It takes a while to get over that, if you even get over it, I think the greatest thing I could say is you have to transform that pain, because pain that's not transformed gets transferred.
Yep.
Yep,
that's for sure.
So I'm glad, and for those of you guys listening, once again, that's AR Recovery. We highly recommend them. The Show Up Dad Foundation supports them, and they're great. They're great for anybody who's going through it right now. So
it's a the pain, the pain. I mean, everybody, we all know breakups, and you always feel like you and your spouse it would never happen to you guys. And when it does, it harbors, and then losing everything.
Yeah.
And then being alienated. It is like every day I wake up now, I still gotta fight. I still every day until I get my 13-year-old, until we get that situated. It's just it doesn't make sense sometimes. Well, all the time. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Well, who are you winning? You got $70,000 in lawyers' fees, and like, why? But why? I still haven't figured that part out. Why?
Well, it definitely seems like spirituality played a great deal, in helping you cope with the challenges you faced and stuff.
Yeah.
With that being said, there's also this perseverance, like a recurring theme in your story that I'm catching, you know what I mean? Where, man, you just go through these tough moments, right? And you just find this strength to keep moving forward. Would you relay that back to finding a higher power?
Yeah.
Is that what you leaned on? You know what I mean?
I was already giving up when I met that homeless guy, and when he talked to me and what went on after that, wow, I never thought about that. Because, I think maybe that might have been something that gave me the will and the determination to keep going, because I was already just exhausted and done at that point, So I never thought about it like that. Yeah.
Wow, man, that's crazy. I know there's a scripture that says, be careful how you treat certain people, because there's been people that have even entertained angels. You know what I mean?
Huh.
You never know, man. That homeless guy could have been, an angel sent forth to bring you hope, brother, in
I
your
mean, I've been
darkest
back
time.
there 20 times. I haven't seen him. Like,
Yeah.
trying to, like, I left a note on a tree, like, hey man, I want to bring you back to my place, let you shower, and I just haven't seen him. So maybe he got something out of it, or maybe he's in another, spot. So I hope he is. If you're out there, hey man, I hope you're doing good.
Yeah. You never know, man. It's crazy, How has self-reflection play like a crucial role in your personal growth? Because I know you've changed a lot. You had to,
Right.
pain sometimes causes it's the greatest catalyst for growth, right? So with that being said, can you share some specific moments or practices that allowed you to kind of like reflect and gain insights onto yourself and your
So
journey as a father? Like, what do you do? Like,
I never cried before, right?
okay.
It was always like, bro, I'm a lineman, bro. I'm gonna cry,
Yeah.
I cry now. Like I saw, like I like learned that to heal, sometimes you gotta, I mean, I guess cry for me. Like, you get it out and
Yeah.
deal with it, and talk about it and get it out. And every time I did it, from the first little tears to the full blown, tears, every time I just got a little bit better and a little bit more in tune with me and what I needed to do, instead of feeling sorry for myself, how
Hmm.
to make things better, from my boys to my job. Like, I almost lost my job through all that. It was like I needed to just hunker down and get right. And part of that, the biggest part of that, was going to church for me, and enjoying it. Not going to church because it's the right thing that everybody's saying to do. Like, I had to find a church too that I felt good, like cool with, the
Yeah.
people that were for me. And I found one, and so now it's like, it's enjoyable to see me, like, having fun doing this stuff. You know what I mean? Like going to church with the boys,
Yeah.
and when she comes into the play, it's like I see this tornado coming, and then I'm just like, hey, tornado,
Hmm.
okay, have a good day. Like, I don't fight back. I don't. Not that I don't fight back. I don't create any more drama that there needs to be. You know what I mean? I try to just
Yeah.
let it go, let it roll off, and just do my thing. So I guess reflecting, like, as your question said, was crying, and being honest to me, talking to
Hmm.
myself. Just not putting a front up for anyone or anything. Just being true. Like,
Hmm.
if this hurts my feelings, I'm going to say something instead of just bottling it up and throwing it out. Now I just kind of
Hmm.
talk things out, and just kind of, I guess, handle it more maturely, I guess.
Hmm. I know a lot of guys out there, what they do is they start journaling and stuff like that, especially like if they don't have people to talk to, say if they don't go to church or they don't have a specific group that they can go to. Did you ever do any journaling or try that at all? Or
I got one of those, like, composition books,
yeah.
and all I did is I wrote down the date, and then I'd write down, like, how I felt when I woke up, and how I felt when I went to bed. And it was
Mm,
always like, you know, lonely and just sad. I miss the kids. And then it started to evolve into, I can
mm,
do this. Like, we're gonna be all right. And then it was almost like motivation, because I would see what I wrote the day before and be like, I could do better than that today, and I just kept
oh,
going. Like, so I kept it with me too. It's as something that I'll share someday with my kids if they ever go through a rough time in life. Like, you can do it. We can all do
mm.
it. You just gotta kind of work at it, and don't give up. You can't give up. You can't give up
Man,
at
that's a
all.
perfect example of reflection because just to see that transition from where you started, where it was just dark and gloom, like you said, and then just being able to motivate yourself, you know what I mean, throughout the days. I mean, it's powerful, brother. I
Yeah.
mean, life coaches are recommending that their clients do this left and right. You know what I mean? And I've seen it within the church, everything. I do something similar. I'll write down my moments I have, my alone time, right? And my thoughts or ideas, or even just getting alone with the Lord. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And letting him know what's bothering me or whatever, I think those times are important.
Yeah, even if it's
Self-reflection.
5 minutes, like you said, talking. I just started doing that. Like, I'd be like, hey man, this is going
Hmm.
on or whatever. And it helps you kind of break it down and simplify it,
Hmm.
and tackle it. You know what I mean? And then once you're tackling these little things, then the big things, when they come, it's not as hard. Just kind of
Hmm.
keeps you always on top of things, I guess, in your life. You know, you don't let things stack up behind you and then tumble on top of you. You just kind of just, you know, I mean, it's for me, that's what it does.
It also helps you to maintain hope. You know what I mean? Like when you're going through it, because you can fall back and be like, all right, man, this is what I went through. This is how it's changed. You know, it's just a season I'm going through, right? I know it seems like forever, but it's just a season. I think a lot of times men who take their own lives is because they can never see the light at the end of the tunnel. And they get stuck in that moment of, woe is me. I'm never going to get out of this, right? But if you're able to recap and look back through the challenges that God has taken you through and has been faithful with you to see you through those times, you can find strength in that, bro.
Yep, I agree 100%. Just that little bit is all you need, and
yeah,
just that little bit in there can trigger and change your outlook. You know what I mean? And all this whole thing is, what in life too is it's just it's a challenge, you know, and it's hard, and you got to have that, just that little bit of will, or you know, that little push, and you can get it from however you get it, you know. It's a major factor in becoming happy, you know, in your life, and you just got to keep doing it and doing it, and next thing you know, you're all right. Everything's all right.
Doing it. Yep, one step in front of the other, right?
I like this time last year, I was like, I'm never going to see my kids. I had no clothes. I was late to work. I was at work. I'd be up there just sitting, just daydreaming, thinking about like what went wrong. And now I'm killing it at work. I got my boys legally on paper. You know, one of them we're gonna fix that. And life's good. You know, I'm in a little apartment, whatever, but life's good. You know, and I just got to keep going. And this will make me stronger after it's all said and done.
Absolutely. This too shall pass, brother. Yeah. Now, you talk about work, right? And we know on our show, anybody who listens, you know, and for those who don't know what we do, you know, Mike is a lineman just like me. And balancing those demands of work as a lineman and all the emotional challenges that you face at work and at home, you know, it's difficult, right? So how did you manage to find that balance and ensure like you're going to be present for your children and your job, bro? Because I mean, that's hard. You're literally a single parent, you know?
Yeah, I was a hey, you want to hang up for a minute? What do you want to say? All right, so let me put this in the dad. So it was challenging to say the least, but what I did is I had to simplify my life so much to the point of, okay, the next quest is to wake up on time, you know?
Okay.
Like it was, I wake up and then get to work, and I was, you know, bitter and tired, and so when I get there, it was like, just do your job. Don't, you know, just do your job, mind your own business, you know, just go do your thing, and don't let this bother you. It was almost impossible to not think about it during the day, you know? It was horrible. But I just talked to myself, really. And then I did like little prayers or whatever here and there, and just trying to ask for help from whatever I could get it from, you know? And slowly learn to, I guess, adapt to the situation, you know?
Yeah. Did your crew know that anything was going on at all? Did you let anybody know?
No, they all knew that. They all knew that something was up, because I'm kind of the prankster. You know, I like to do stuff, and I stopped all that. And then I was a couple of guys told me, like, hey man, you were just talking up there. Like, what are you mad about? And I was like, what? And I guess I wasn't even thinking. I was just talking out loud, just, you know. But people could hear, and so people started to pick up on it. And then I was losing weight. Just I was coming to work just dirty because I had nobody to shower. You know, it was so people started to pick up, and then I sat down with everybody and just told them, and they all have my back, man. Like not. I would never ever expect. They all have my back, bringing me food at work from their wife. It was love, man, 100%. Like everybody had my back, and so that was a big deal too. So it was amazing, man. I have to look back at it like they did car washes for me to give me money so I could pay for lawyer fees. Like that was a big factor, you know, for getting to it. The guys I work with, you know, it was huge.
Man, what a greater way for God to show his love for you, dude, by bringing guys that who knows if they're even believers. But nevertheless, God uses everybody, you know, and to get those guys to join together in love and just be able to pour out his love for you, dude, and show you, hey, man, I got you. You can trust me. Trust me in this moment, man. Just trust me. I take care of the birds of the air and even the flowers in the field, man. How much more important are you than these things? And I take care of those things, so that's
it was,
awesome to see.
I didn't believe in all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
God helps you in ways that you're not, you're not aware of.
Mm-hmm.
It's true, man. It really is. It's a powerful thing to go from down and out to I can do this, in a short period of time. And the only thing that changed in my life was I started going to church and praying and feeling like I don't know words to explain it, but I just felt like I was going to be okay after I started going to church and really pouring out my heart and being honest about, like I would say prayers about like, man, I thought this place was so uptight and I didn't, whatever. And just being real. And it just, everything kind of slowly transitioned from just down and out and nothing to, I can do this to, hey, all right, well, now we're here, And so it's something that these guys, there's two guys at my work that were going through, I didn't know they were going through marriage trouble. And because of what happened to me and what I was going through and me going to church, they went to church and they're all married and happy and everything's good. So
yeah,
it's a definite life changer, if you just try it out. It's a cool thing. These guys would be the same way, right?
Yeah, no, for sure, man. As a father, Mike, you've expressed an unwavering love for your children. It's evident, right? You're fighting for your children, right? How do you maintain that strong bond with them throughout this challenging period? Like, and what advice can you give to other fathers who may be going through similar circumstances? Because there's a bunch of guys out there, bro, that are in your shoes,
So at first I started buying everything, toys, and I quickly learned that was the wrong thing to do. Okay. So for my situation, the other side, my other side, he's right here. I don't want to say too much. They started to say that I was just a Disneyland dad, and that was only a good time, and that's all the reason why they liked me. So I took it a step further, and I started to be. I talked. We talked. I would be like, "How's your day? You did what today? Oh, you were on the swings and this happened," and we would talk about it. We talk about this, and something changed. We became like extremely close. Super fast, and now it's now we look. It's so hard to. I don't even know how to. It's so hard to. You want to grab your kids and give them all the candy and all the food, and we're gonna go to Disneyland. We're gonna go here because you want to make them happy, and then they'll want to be with me more than them or whatever. But no, the right thing, the thing that changed for me was when my ex came up, I never talked bad, never. I never said a bad word. When they said that, oh, this and this happened, I would just make excuses like, oh, well, she probably forgot, or maybe she's having a bad day. Dude, that went farther than anything. Because
absolutely,
as kids, they're like, when I'm with dad, he's pretty cool, and then he doesn't talk bad about mom, which it makes me cool. When I'm with mom, though, she's talking bad about dad, and I kind of now I'm thinking that I don't like her. It changed. Not only was I winning with my children, but I was winning with myself and our me and her. Unfortunately, for my situation, that worked for a little bit, but then she started. Then things were said that were, just terrible. And my older guy, he's you raise your kids to protect your family, right? Your boys especially, protect your mom always. If there's something goes down, protect mom. I think he's doing what I taught him. He's heard stuff. He's confused about it, but he thinks in his head he's doing what I taught him. He's protecting mom. He's staying with her. And so I'm a little bit proud of that, I guess, in a sense, but I'm also devastated and heartbroken. But I think some one-on-one time and some, counseling and therapy, once the courts we can get that. When you're a dad, it's very hard going through the court system. You're already against the wall when you walk in that door. So but I've gotten lucky and I think the next court is when that will be resolved, and we'll get some one-on-one counseling and therapy, and then from there, baby steps, man. You got to work. It's a job. It's a whole thing, And I'm not saying every woman gets to just give it to her. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there is a definite energy that is this in court, in divorce court or family court, that leans towards the mom side. It's very evident. So when you go in there as a father fighting for your kids, don't lie, don't BS, and don't badmouth the other. Like, whatever she's done. Yeah, and then I'm sure there's things that everybody's like, I gotta say this because it shows her character. Now they've seen it and heard it all. You go in there and you start badmouthing, immediately that judge is gonna be like, I don't want to hear it. You just stay. I want my kids. I'm ready to do whatever it takes to get my kids. If I got to do this or that, I'm down. I go. They had me with that. She's like, he's doing drugs. I want to take a drug test. And I was like, I don't do drugs. I get drug tested at work, Your Honor, every couple of months, a surprise drug test for my job. She says you're doing drugs, go get a drug test. I got to go pay $200 to go get a drug test. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just got to, when you go to court, that person that you are in there, when you don't talk bad about someone else, about her, and you just handle your shit right, carry that out into your life, because it makes it so much easier, and everybody sees it. Everybody sees it. All your peers and kids, it changes things,
It speaks volumes, right?
100%.
Yeah. I mean, even at work, bro, if you're the guy who's always bad mouthing your coworkers, I mean, what does it say about you?
Yeah. I mean, people hear, people see. If that guy's always bad mouthing everybody, but then they see how, like, she was always like this. And then when they meet you, you're like, hey, what's up? Oh, I heard your wife was like this. I heard this guy said you were this. Yeah, I don't know. You switch people by just being nice,
Yeah.
Smart, So at least for the guys who go to court, that's a piece of advice that I could say is priceless, Just be a good person, and it'll all turn out. It'll work out.
Absolutely, man. No, it's awesome that you said that, dude. That's a great piece of advice. I had a past guest a while back, his name is Mark Real. He's a father's rights attorney. He's a real big advocate for father's rights, trying to change the laws in America. He's actually out of here in Southern California. Great dude. If you guys have a chance to listen to that podcast as well, he has some great insights. One of the things he said was one of the things he actually mentioned, when you're a father and you're going through this, the best thing you could do is not say nothing in the first 90 days. No phone calls, no texts, no nothing. That's the number one thing he tells his clients right now. Don't do anything within those 90 days. You know what I mean? No matter how angry you are, whatever, you need to exercise self-control.
Yeah, that's huge. Because you want to say, like, that's you here, or this, just
no,
say nothing.
Just zip it up, right?
Just zip it, and then you're gonna the amount of crow that you're gonna eat for the first 3 months you're gonna be just bad. It's horrible. It is horrible. It is the worst. It is the worst. I found my tools at, like, all my Milwaukee stuff at some guy's yard sale down the street.
Oh my God.
Like, she was just like, and I'm walking with, like, hey, it says my initials are right there, and the guy's like, I don't know. I was like, I got like, it's just all your stuff, just those are just things, and you can get more things. You don't let it bother you,
Absolutely. And that's the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway I think that our listeners are gonna hear is, man, it sucks, but this too shall pass, brother. And you got to do the right thing, and someone's got to be the adult, and someone's got to put the children first.
And when it's all said and done, the problems that she has with you, or she's stating to other people, because they're not being handled correctly, those problems are going to reoccur for her with the next person.
Absolutely.
And if you take this time to be you, find you, do you.
Yep. When
it's all said and done, and whoever your next person is, it'll be a completely different experience, because now you know what not to do, what not to look for, what not to, and take it, just do it. Like, guys got to do it for them. Like, we, as men, we do for our families, and we do for our kids and our wife.
Yeah. One of the big things that I always tell when we do our counseling, both my wife and I, we always tell people, how you leave a place is how you're going to enter. So how you left that last relationship, man, if you left it, if you're burning bridges and blowing bridges up, guess what? You're you're going to enter in your next spot like that too. You know, you got to deal with yourself,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know, for sure.
Yeah.
But,
You are,
uh-huh.
there's a whole lot of you have to figure out when divorce comes through. And I
Yes.
think a lot of time men, my buddies that I've known, everybody kind of gets quiet and
Mm-hmm.
like implodes almost. And don't do that, man. You got to get it out. You got to just get it out, and talk it out. And if the other side doesn't want to play games, play
Mm-hmm.
fair, then still do the right thing, because when it's all said and done, the right thing is what's going to prevail. It may take time, but
Mm-hmm.
sooner or later you'll be on top. You know, it just takes time. You know, be patient.
Absolutely, man. And trust the process. Trust the process, man. Well, Mike, thank you so much for coming on here and sharing your story, bro, and being so open and honest about everything that's going on in your life. I know this is going to be inspirational to the people that are listening, you know, and I just thank you, man. It takes a lot of courage to come on here and just share your story, man. And I wish you the best. I know it's going to continue to go well for you. And if you ever need anything, reach out to us. We're here for you, brother. But thank you. I appreciate you.
Cool. All right, man. Thanks a lot, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. And can you please tell our audience if they want to have any questions for you or anything like that, if you want to, how they can reach you?
Yeah, you can reach me at Dad on a Mission.
Mm-hmm.
Dad on a Mission 0919 on Instagram, or feel free to send me an email at M3 Chartrand. It's CHARTRAND M3 Chartrand at Gmail. Got questions, or you're going through it and you're just having a rough go, just hit me up and I'll open up that composition book and let you know what I was doing at that phase that you're at. You know?
Absolutely, man. Thank you, Mike. And once again, guys, for you guys who are listening, if you guys need hope and support, we got guys like Mike who have joined our successful Facebook group. It's called the Show Up Dad, where men get on there and get inspiration. If you're having a hard day or whatever you need, we have that Facebook group. It is there for you, and it's called the Show Up Dad. So once again, thank you guys, and keep your heads up and keep fighting for what's important, your family.